Nick, welcome to Radioacktiva, man. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Getting ready for our little tour. So yeah, pretty busy at the moment, but looking forward to it.
This is going to be your first time in Colombia, right?
It will be. Yeah, I don't think any of us have been. It's possible that Neil may have been on some solo shows, but certainly Slowdive have never been to Colombia.
Okay, I guess it's first fair to ask since it's going to be the first time. Any expectations about the audience, the public, or even the country?
Um, well, I mean, I've been looking at the weather forecast because obviously we're in winter here and we're sort of looking forward to being south of the equator. But I don't know. Are you south of the equator? My geography is terrible. Are you south or north of the equator?
Yes. Well, Bogota, it isn't as hot as you might imagine,
Okay.
but it's a good city. It's a very cool city. You'll
Yeah.
get to enjoy it. Hopefully, you have more than just a day for the show to enjoy and walk
Yeah.
around.
We don't have a huge amount of time in Colombia, unfortunately. I think we may have a day. So normally we try and make the most of that. So yeah, we're looking forward to coming there. I've never been to Paraguay either. So and it'll be good to be coming back to Argentina, Brazil, and Chile as well. So yeah, look, it's going to be great. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's just that Colombia is weird because it's the line of the Ecuador goes like right in the middle of the country, so you find all different
Okay.
kind of weather. So don't worry about
Right.
about your homework.
Okay. Cool.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I wanted to ask you about the record. Everything is alive. What's like the mindset when it comes to doing a slow dive record? Because this one seems to me quite cinematic, and since of course you guys experiment with such different kind of sounds, or sometimes just little voice and mainly sounds, how does it work?
Um, well, I mean, it varies from one record to another, but I mean, generally the process is that Neil will have the ideas for the songs in advance, and sometimes they'll be just fragments of ideas, and sometimes they'll be quite fully realized, and he'll have demos where he's played pretty much all the instruments already, and it's just a question of bringing it to us, and we might make a few little changes or replay some of the parts or whatever. And I think this record was probably more like that. I think Neil wanted to make a more electronic record, and we weren't able to be together a lot of the time because this recording process was through the COVID pandemic as much as anything else. So it was more difficult. We weren't really together, separate parts of the country. So Neil did a lot of the work by himself. And then what really happened with this record is that the rest of the band kind of made it more of a slow dive record. I think if Neil had had his way, it would probably have remained more electronic, and there wouldn't have been many guitars on it. um, and but the thing is, when the five of us get together, it always tends to go in a certain direction, and we all bring something to the band, and I think we Christian played some guitars, and once Rachel put her vocals on, and Simon's drums, it always ends up sounding more like sort of traditional slow dive. So that's the way it kind of went. So really, it could have been a more experimental record, but we ended up with a record that I think is a bit more traditional, but with some new angles in there as well.
But I like that because you can go from a song like, just let me check, I wrote the name here, Prayer Remembered. I love that track. But I also get to a song like Kisses. So it's
Yeah.
it's a ride, going through the whole record. Tell me about Prayer Remembered.
Yeah.
I really like that track.
Well, it was it was the closest to a song that we played live in the studio, actually. So again, Neil had the melody, no lyrics, and we were expecting lyrics to come later, like they often do. In fact, I think Rachel had some written, like Rachel wanted to sing on it. But we played it instrumentally, and I remember playing it sort of live in the studio. I remember Simon drumming, and me at the desk playing the bass, and Christian putting some guitar on. And we really liked it as a piece of music, but Neil was quite adamant that he didn't want lyrics on it, which was sort of slightly strange to the rest of us. But I think what it is the song he wrote that song at a particular moment in his life, which he doesn't really like to sort of talk about the really personal stuff. So we don't really push him. We don't talk about it too much in interviews. But he was quite clear that it was just a piece of music that sort of marked this moment in his life, and he didn't want to almost ruin it with words. So we it was always in his head going to be an instrumental. So it's funny. It's kind of probably the most live track on the whole record, and the quickest to record. It was done very, very quickly, and then no lyrics. So go figure. But it's a very personal track for Neil, certainly.
But then again, you go from that track to further down the record, a song like Kisses, which has guitar. That's an acoustic guitar, right?
That's a what? Sorry, an acoustic? Did you say?
An acoustic guitar?
I think there might be one on it. There are so many guitar tracks that get used and don't get used. I can't tell you exactly what went on it, but Kisses has got quite a few different versions, and the version that's on the record and the version that was released as a single is it's quite poppy. It's one of our more sort of poppier sounding songs, but there are other versions which are kind of darker and more electronic, which could have made it onto the record, but we didn't think really fitted. But you may hear perhaps as a remix or as another track. I'm hoping soon. I'm hoping we're going to be able to put some remixes out soon, so you might hear that soon.
If I remember correctly, earlier during this interview, you mentioned that lots of things about the record were things that just got like somehow connected together through the individual process of each one of you guys. I wanted to ask if that's why the album art, it's a maze, because I really like that, and I was like to ask the connection between one thing and the other.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any deliberate connection with the artwork. We're not very good with artwork. We always really struggle to find artwork that we like. I think it seemed to be much easier in the 90s than it is now. Like for the last record, the 2017 record, it took us ages to like come across that image, and in a way this was the same. And it was just a piece of artwork that we liked, and I think it kind of fitted with the album title a little bit. It's like you're kind of caught in this maze, but there's always a way out. There's sort of the theme of the record really is like hope. I think after having gone through the years that everybody went through between 2020 and now. It's, although a lot of the music we do is quite downbeat and quite dark, there's hope in there somewhere, and so finding your way out of this maze seemed to be quite a good kind of visual metaphor for the record.
No, cool. Tell me about working with Sean Everett.
Well, yeah, that was Neil went over to Los Angeles and worked with him. I think it's quite a difficult one for Neil, because I think Sean works at particularly odd hours. Like I think he likes to work through the night, really. Neil flew over from London, and so had all the issues with jet lag and everything, and so they found it quite difficult to kind of be awake at the same time. So a lot of it was actually ended up being done remotely, which is very difficult. Mixing a record over Zoom is kind of hard. But we really liked Sean's attitude towards taking the work on. We sort of pitched it to a few mix engineers, and he was by far the most enthusiastic. And he sent us quite a long letter talking about how he felt it should sound, and taking some cues from us, and giving us loads of different versions of Kisses, which was the first track that he mixed. I think it might have been a Life actually, but yeah, it was a Life. So yeah, he was really into the whole thing, and I think we knew we needed to work with somebody who was interested and was into it. So yeah, he's a real character. It's a show I didn't get to, because Neil was the only one that went out to LA to do the mixing, so the rest of us were really looking forward to meeting him when we played last month. But there was some issue where he couldn't make it, which is a shame. But yeah, he's an interesting guy for sure.
with the, you know, big range of sound and musical experimentation that the band has gone through, do you see yourself as a shoegaze band?
Um, I think yeah, we probably do. Like I think in the '90s we probably would have said absolutely not. No, we're not. But we've kind of that short term has been reclaimed, I think, by bands, and it's no longer a term of abuse like it was in the '90s. It's just a genre, like any other genre. It's just when someone says to me who doesn't know the band or know what I do as a job, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I play in a band. What type of music? And I'm always a bit stuck with that question. And often I go, oh, shoegaze, and most people don't know what I'm talking about. But a few do, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So it's just a label. I mean, I think what we're always conscious of doing, we don't mind being labeled like that, but we want to be seen as a band that is making music now. And if it's shoegaze music, then that's fine. If it's like electronic experimental music, that's fine. If it's ambient music, that's fine. But we just don't want to be sort of seen as a band that had their best time in the '90s and are now just kind of rehashing everything again. And I think we've achieved that by and large. I think people are interested in the new music, and there's a lot of kids at the shows now who are who know the new music as well as the old music. So I think it's working out.
I'm sorry, I had to ask this. You say term of abuse? Like I had no idea.
Yeah, it was.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah,
I never
in
thought
the
of it like
90s,
that. Not down here in
the
Latin
90s
America.
in the UK. Right. And I think in North America it wasn't really either, but in especially in the United Kingdom in the '90s, where the written music press, the NME, Melody Maker would they would make a band and then break a band. The term shoegaze was coined as a kind of dismissive term. It was like all they do is stand and look at their feet. They've got no personality. They've got no talent. And in some cases that might be right, but but no, it's definitely been reclaimed, and people just use it as a descriptor now rather than as abuse.
I had no idea. I honestly had no idea. I'd never heard of that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Of it that way before. Just one more thing before we go. Does creating an atmosphere is like something that the band has in mind when it comes to create a record and then put it out for a show? Because I think that's a huge element on the band's record. Like there's always an atmosphere being created and being played with through the whole album.
Yeah, I think that's what we've always tried to do, and it goes back to coming up with the track Avalyn in the studio in 1989. We stumbled across that atmosphere, which we hadn't really played with before, but up to that point it was all like indie pop, really. And suddenly we were like, well, okay, there's space and time and sound in this that we'd not really expected, and it became something that we always wanted to include because I think bands find their space, don't they? And that was it. And so I think we always, even to this day, we always try and have good melodies and good songs. That's very important. But we always want to have that kind of Slowdive atmosphere there as well. And when we take it out on the road and we play live, it's different. It's much harder. It's obviously louder. It's got more punch. But we still try and kind of divide the setup so that we have these pieces of kind of more drawn out atmosphere, as well as the songs like Catch the Breeze and Kisses and Star Roving, which are more immediate. So yeah, it is deliberate. I think it's what we've always done, and it's what we'll always do in the future.
Well, cool. Looking forward to see you guys here in Colombia creating that atmosphere on Primavera.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, that's it, man. Thank you very much. Have a very nice day, and looking forward to see you guys here at the festival.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day.